This is your opportunity to sign up for citizen comments and public hearing, if this is your first time and you would like to speak. The time is 2:58. We will start at exactly 3 o'clock. Thank you. I would like to call our meeting to order. It is 3 o'clock. Thank you all for taking the time out your busy schedule to come to today's City Council meeting. We will have the invocation by Mayor Pro Tem Adams, and I will do the pledge. Would you please all rise?
Please plan your tradition as I pray in mine. Oh, most holy and gracious Father, thank you for allowing us to come together this evening. We pray that your presence is here, guiding us and leading us in every decision that we make and as we conduct our business. We ask you to continue to watch over this country, this state, and this city, and all of its residents. We ask all these in your most holy and gracious name. Amen.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Adams, for doing the invocation. And I also like to acknowledge Council Member Commissioner Louis Minor and Commissioner Bobby Whitson from Bell County. Thank you for being here. The next item is the approval of agenda. Council, moving forward, when we make our motions, please make it thorough that Madam City Attorney can understand that that was a motion. And whoever seconded, please repeat it to her after you make your seconds. And this is completely for the records. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
Mayor, I move that we approve the agenda as printed.
Councilman Solomon. All in favor of the motion? Yes. All opposed of the motion? No. Motion carries 7-0. As always, we like to receive checks and we like to receive updates from our residents on how this council, we are perceived and what we're doing right and the constructive criticism about an item. So Ms. Wilson will come up after Madam Secretary reads after she reads the presentations. PR-25-024. We have completed the invocation. We completed the Pledge of Allegiance. We completed the approval of the agenda, which was all a majority, 7 votes. And now we are work session, 3 minutes. And, Tori, you're doing
Madam
it.
Mayor.
Tori is doing it. So now we on presentations?
Yes, ma'am. We're not at the work session yet. We're on the presentations.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I'll read the first presentation into the record. PR 25024, 2025 Citizen Survey Results.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Ms. Torrey. It's always a blessing, honor to see you. And Ms. Wilson, I just assumed it would be you. Okay. Yes, ma'am, you have the floor.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to present today. Every 2 years, the City of Killeen conducts a comprehensive citizen satisfaction survey to better understand the needs, expectations, and priorities of our residents. This survey is a key tool in helping us measure our performance, identify areas of improvement, and guide future strategic decisions. We are committed to transparency and accountability, and this report helps us ensure we stay aligned to what matters most to our community. Today, we are joined by Robert Haycock, Senior Project Manager from ETC Institute. He will walk us through the survey findings, key trends over time, and how our city compares with other communities nationally. And then following the presentation, we'll answer any questions that you all may have. At this time, I would like to welcome to the podium Robert, who will take it from here and present the 2025 Citizen Survey results.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of the council. My name is Robert Haycock, as Tori indicated. It's a pleasure to be here with you again. I was here last year presenting results, and I'm happy to be back. So we'll just jump right in. For those of you that are not familiar with ETC Institute, this kind of shows graphically on a map where we've done business. We've been in business for more than 40 years as a company, one of the leading market research companies for cities and counties and states across the country. One stat I would point out is in the last 14 years, we've surveyed more than 3.6 million people and 1,300 different governmental agencies on 4 continents. That's really something when you stop and think about, you're getting 500 at a time to build up to 3.6 million. So we're very experienced with this work, and we love it because we see the engagement and we see the positive energy that's driven into communities that they are able to capture from their citizens and work together for a very positive move forward. Really quickly, I'm not going to read all of these, but you can glance. I want to make sure you have an idea of the agenda today. We're going to go through these fairly quickly. We're going to start with the purpose and methodology, and we're going to end with questions at the tail end here. There are a number of reasons why communities like Killeen choose to do a community survey. There's a few of them here. One of them is to objectively assess satisfaction with quality of life and city services and measure trends. That key word there is objective. We hear from a lot of citizens who claim to represent other people, and they may, but it puts it in a context that you can all agree on without any personal disagreements. It's just objective data. The data is what it is. We want to be able to compare your performance to other communities in the United States, and we want to help determine priorities for improvement to serve citizens better. Methodology, it was administered by mail and online in July. We had a goal of 500 completed surveys. We actually had 545, so we had a really strong response to the survey, and it produced a margin of error which is better than normal. Normally we shoot for a plus or minus 5% margin of error. We actually got that down to 4.2% because of the work that your staff did to get out and promote it, and you all did to promote the survey out in the community. This is a distribution map. It just demonstrates where the responses came from. We never divulge with a certain individual how they responded. We will only show results down to the block level here, but you see noted by the red dots are where we had the responses from, pretty evenly distributed. Again, to drive home the point, we want to make sure we're reaching everybody, and in doing so accurately reflect the last census report in the data. So we asked the question, how long have you lived in Killeen? You do have almost a majority, 48% of folks that have lived in Killeen for 20 plus years. But you also have a fair number of people who've been there 6 months to 5 years and 5 to 10 years. So we had a good distribution of that. We asked the age of the respondents. Again, you can see very good representation across different age categories, from 18 to 34 up to 55 plus, 65 plus, I'm sorry. Pretty similar in the response. We wanted to measure, as one of our goals, as I said, satisfaction with quality of life and city services. This is specifically about your community. And the majority of residents felt neutral or satisfied with overall the quality of life in Killeen. Most of our responses are going to be on a 5-point scale from very satisfied to very dissatisfied. When we get into some of the rankings, you'll see we combine the very dissatisfied with dissatisfied in order to really amplify that. We want to have a harder curve, if you would, to grade ourselves. So we emphasize any level of disagreement or disappointment with services is going to show more prominently. This is a chart I don't expect you all to be able to read. It is a challenge, a lot of data here, but I hope you have the report and you can go back and review it at your leisure. But we asked about different categories of city services, from ambulance services, fire, trash collection, and all the way down to street maintenance at the bottom there. You can see, and you'll find in the benchmarks comparisons to other communities, Killeen does quite well in most categories. The troubling areas you'll find are probably not a surprise to you, but code enforcement and street maintenance, in particular street maintenance. Now, what does that mean? Most of the time what that means is it's a sign, anytime you get over 25%, I would recommend you have the discussion about that topic, that you work with your staff to chart an action plan to get more information to the public about what you're doing and to open up dialogue on those points. A lot of times public perception is not necessarily reality. You need to keep that in mind. They're experiential, yes, but they also word of mouth or what neighbors say about the city. They're not necessarily giving their own opinion from their own experience. And so what I oftentimes encourage our clients to do, in particular in these areas, and I think I mentioned this last time, when you have a neutral that's 41% people are neutral with recreational programming or city youth programs, that's an opportunity to more easily move. You're going to have an easier time moving people from neutral to satisfied than you are from dissatisfied to satisfied. And so I often say that's a matter of communication, getting the word out, educating folks on what's really happening. Because you can be working on you could have a master street plan that maybe folks just aren't aware of, and maybe they would feel better about, more satisfied with your streets if they knew what was coming more prominently. We asked about public safety, and again, you can see the fire department professionalism, customer service, and speed of response. Emergencies were the highest rated public safety services. Crime prevention was at the bottom with 46% dissatisfied. And again, we combined those two, as I mentioned, but still 46%, or roughly half of the public, has some level of dissatisfaction with crime prevention. Now, the question is, how much do they really know about what the chief is doing, what the department is doing with crime prevention? Again, it might be an area where you're doing a lot of things to prevent crime, but the message isn't getting out. More education, more dialogue with the community might help address that number. But for the most part, you can see pretty good numbers here, including police department professionalism, very high ranking there with 63%. Saying they're satisfied or very satisfied with the professionalism of your police department. We wanted to show some trends since the last survey. We just had a sample of them here. So we had some notable increases in several categories, including police services, customer service provided by the fire department. All those areas went up. You did have some areas that went down from the last survey. So most of those dealing with parks in some way, shape, or form, except for providing an adequate forum for public input. So I'm not sure, the survey doesn't tell us exactly what's going on behind the numbers, What I recommend when something like this happens, anytime you have a 10% drop or more, that can be something that we ask more elaborate questions perhaps in the next survey to peel back that onion a little bit and give you better information about what's going on here. I had a discussion with your police chief prior. Was there an incident? Was there some major incident of crime or violence in your parks? And he said no, there's nothing that he could point to that would drive that number in the last year. So you need to kind of engage in a different way, figure out how those discussions and determine for yourselves what's happening. It's not uncommon, though, to see some swinging. It is uncommon to see it above the margin of error, 5% or so above the margin of error. Now, that said, we'll look at how Killeen compares to other communities, because I think, again, a lot of these numbers are very positive. Killeen is in the dark blue. Our Texas average is in the red hash, and the U.S. average is in yellow. And you can see the 5 arrows that have blue arrows. That shows that you are significantly above the other averages, both of the other averages. So when you look at ambulance services and fire services and trash collection and some of those items, you're considerably higher in terms of level of satisfaction than the other benchmarks. Now you get down to the bottom, however, and that street maintenance and code enforcement pop out again. The average in Texas is 25.3, and the national average for street maintenance is 40.5, and you're at 15.6. So that's definitely one of those problem areas you're going to see. It's going to be identified as an area that needs attention, needs investment, and is a high priority to the community. But overall, still, you look across the board, you have a lot of things to be positive about. And we looked at satisfaction with public safety. Again, the fire department at the top one there, you're at 79%, which is 15% higher than the Texas average and considerably higher than the national average for that category. Traffic enforcement, crime prevention, again, that crime prevention number is considerably lower. So crime prevention, code enforcement, and streets are those that kind of, we get at those numbers in a different way, but you can see it's pretty consistent. In terms of investment priorities, I'm going to take a time before I break this down. And I know I addressed this last year, but not everybody was here or heard that. So one of the things that ETC has done in the last 10 years or so is we've really gotten away from just doing satisfaction. We find some companies work with communities and all they ask is, how satisfied are you with that? We think that only shows half the story, because something can be, you can be dissatisfied with that survey and very unhappy with it, but it doesn't make it your number one priority. It doesn't make it something that you necessarily think the city ought to be focused on. So that's why we correlate the two numbers to get that. Example I think I gave last time with park services was dog parks. And I might say, okay, how satisfied are you with the dog park? And I might say, oh, I hated the dog park. Very dissatisfied because my dog got chased around by some bigger dogs and all that. And with just that information, you might say, hey, we need a priority. We need to invest in the dog park. But if you ask me a second question, you said, well, how important is it to you? I might say, it's bottom list. I don't care about it. I'd rather you spend that money on youth programs or senior programs or different things like that within our parks. So that's why we correlate them together. And what you see here when it comes to major categories of city services, we do have 4 that jumped out as very high priorities: street maintenance, code enforcement, police services, and animal control. Those all rated very highly. And you can see street maintenance was the most important. The number one priority in these categories of these 20 different areas that we measured, street maintenance was number 1, and it was number 20 in satisfaction. So you can't get any more clear in terms of a priority being voiced by the citizens than that. It's number 1 in importance and the least satisfaction. And you can see there, just because something doesn't rise all the way to a very high priority doesn't mean that you shouldn't be focused on it either. There are a number of areas. It says city parks there, recreational programming, even ambulance services. And you might ask, well, why is that? It's the number 1 in terms of satisfaction. but it's 12 of 20 in terms of importance. That tells you there are cases when you look at this that they're happy with what they have, but they want to maintain it. The message is don't let us slide. Don't focus on so many other things that we slide backward on these programs that are doing really well. We want to make sure we maintain that high level of service. And sometimes, that's difficult to do because we want to be looking at new things. We want to be moving that proverbial needle. But clearly you can see some examples where just maintaining the high level of service you've already achieved is the priority. Now we'll look at public safety in particular. The three very high priorities were crime prevention, community policing efforts, and traffic enforcement. Also, as a high priority, police department speed of response to emergency calls. Here we just measured 10, but you can see crime prevention ranked number 1 in importance of all these different police or public safety services, and last in the satisfaction, 10th. In terms of park and recreation services, a number of these, and that showed up in previous slides when we looked at parks as well in terms of trends, overall safety, overall quality of parks, variety of amenities with parks, and having parks conveniently located for people in all areas. All 4 of those items rose to that very high priority level. Doesn't mean some of these other things aren't important. It's just those are the very high priorities. Code enforcement. Again, I don't need to take all your time to read all of those. I know you've seen the report. But items like high grass and weeds and property cleanliness, illegal dumping, all of those showed up as very high priorities. And again, my suspicion is you're doing things to address this. It's just getting that word out and understanding that you can make changes in some things, but it takes time to filter down into that public perception. So the best thing to do is really have those discussions about how could we really demonstrate to the public that we are on top of this and we're trying to make it a priority and have those communications. Some other findings, so we wanted to also ask some specific issues related to your community. So we asked condition of streets and street lighting, among other things that rose as concerns. What is your level of concern? And here you have a major concern, a minor concern, or not a concern was how the question was structured. Relatively speaking, these other areas, graffiti is not as significant of a concern, but clearly condition of streets is a major concern, with 75% ranking it in that category. Would you like to see more, keep the same, or fewer of the following types of development? So to help guide, sometimes you're just doing the best you can as a community to address applications for different develops and things like that. You're working with your economic development partners to, chart a path, and it's good to know, well, what does the citizens really want us to pursue to help inform that discussion. Entertainment venues, major supermarkets, manufacturing and warehouses, and full menu restaurants top the list. Fast food restaurants, other multi-family dwellings, apartments, and office buildings were lower on the list. We asked what level of support do you have for the following possible improvements to be implemented. So we put out some different things like improved street lighting, increased police patrols downtown, and so on down the list. And you can see where improved street lighting topped the list in terms of being very supportive, and increased police patrols downtown was right behind that in the number 2 slot. Pretty much tied with construction of art or museum facilities, including a children's museum. Interesting because we talk about all these other categories, but that one really seems to resonate with the community. And that's not too surprising. Vibrant communities offer activities and facilities to celebrate family and bring people together. So I just thought it was interesting that it jumped out in this survey or question. We asked, how do people gather information about city business and events? How do they know what's going on within the community? Your social media is very active, and this is high compared to what I've seen in other communities. 65% of your your residents said that they looked for the city's social media, the Facebook and Instagram, to help give them information about what's going on in the city, along with the city website. And then you can see water bill inserts and newspaper, TV, media. At the bottom of the list were directly from city staff or city council, or your local access channel. So in summary, you do have overall, your citizens are generally very satisfied with the city's services you offer. You have the highest ratings for ambulance services, fire, trash collection, and water. Public safety services showed the high levels of satisfaction in several areas, including professionalism of the fire department customer service, and speed and emergency response by the fire department. The priorities we've discussed several times: really street maintenance, code enforcement, police services, and animal control. And I would say, along with looking at those parks areas that were trending down, to look and see what can be done to reverse that back to where you were a year or so ago. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Hey, sir, thank you. I'm not sure if you said how many people took the survey.
Yes, it was, I believe it was 545.
545? Okay.
The goal was, I can go back to it.
Oh, no, if you say it's 545.
I think it was.
But I would like for you to go back, I think it's in the 20s, about the satisfaction and dissatisfaction.
I'm sorry, Mayor, what was
I
it?
think it was in the 20s when you told us about what they were really dissatisfied with, the slides. Can you go back to those?
You mean to the,
I think it's in the, you can keep going, I'll tell you which one.
okay, you stop me when I get
Yes,
there.
sir, thank you kindly.
With these?
It's, sir, you can, it's at the end, it's in the
Oh.
20s.
Did I go too far?
No, sir, I was just trying to see some. Right here, this is
Okay.
the one. The level of concerns. So Chief Lopez, Chief Kabinski, Ms. Wallace, Mr. Murphy, could y'all come up, please? And let me see who else was on here. Animal Control, Ms. Wilson, okay. So I'm not sure if this is your first time. As council know, we have invested a lot in our first responders, with Chief Lopez being the first one. The only thing I can see that we need after what happened this weekend, officer getting shot, that's unacceptable because they are SWAT. They're the best, like Navy SEALs, SEAL training for hood. Out of all the people, that rate should be low. So just thinking about one thing we can consider, and I'm not saying this to control any situation, but we need to find money ASAP for a robot to go into them homes when you have a hostile environment. No officers ours should ever get shot again with that kind of environment. So I want y'all to consider that. But Chief Lopez, you have heard, first of all, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council.
Yes, sir. You had the opportunity to see things. You just got here, going on a year or two?
2.5 years in December.
Yes, sir. And I know for a fact, I could speak for the council, we have given every resource that was in our power. And I'm recommending, after what happened, a robot. That's me. You may not see it that way. And our focus got to go to parks. So first responders were our number one. And with what's going on, can you give, and one of the things they said, we don't do community engagement, and they don't understand why we do. And these numbers went up. Lately, they have been, and I call you, like, hey, Chief, what's going on?
Right.
I know, but can you share with the public brief? Because this is some harsh criticism, and I think I owe that to you all, to at least try to sum up why these numbers are the way they are. Not justifying it.
Right.
Because I know you and Chief Kabinski have all the resources that are needed. Could you elaborate? You don't have to go along on it.
Yes, ma'am. Public safety, you're correct. The council and you have supported, and the city manager supported all our public safety efforts to try to improve our services to the citizens of Killeen. And some of the projects, some of the things that were documented, we already are working on it prior to this citizen survey being released. For an example is the community engagement unit. And now that we almost completely fully staffed, we plan to expand the community engagement unit from 6 officers to 10 officers. So that'll help some of our perception of the lack of public safety and presence in the downtown area. We also created a downtown unit. As a matter of fact, we selected the first sergeant, who's going to be Sergeant Wynn. He starts filling that role December 1st. And then once the cadets, the current class is in the FTO program, when they graduate towards December, mid-January, we're going to staff that downtown unit with 4 officers, and they're going to cover the nighttime hours in the downtown area from about 6 to 3 o'clock in the morning. So we are going to see an increase in police presence in the downtown area. Another thing that we realized that we needed to increase our traffic enforcement units. Currently, there's 6. So once we graduate, these cadets in this current class in the FTO program, we're going to go from 6 traffic enforcement officers to additional 4, for a total of 10, so we can have more coverage. And they're gonna work later into the evening hours to cover the rush hour traffic. We created our domestic violence unit because we have a problem with domestic violence in the city of Killeen. So we dedicated 6 officers all they deal with domestic violence crime. When it comes to crime prevention, I directed Erica, she's our crime prevention coordinator, to make sure we put out more social media blasts. And like Mr. Roberts was correct saying that we put out information, but we need to do a better job of putting it out more consistently. So that's going to go into effect starting December 1st too. So you're going to see something called KPD Chronicles.
When is that going into effect, sir?
December 1st.
Okay.
You're going to see something pretty soon in the next week or so called KPD Chronicles, which highlights all the positive, proactive enforcement efforts that the City of Killeen Police Department is doing to keep our residents safe. And it's going to be targeted towards community engagement topics like crime prevention and safety, but also it's going to highlight all the guns and bad people we put in jail that people don't normally see in the newspaper. It's going to be called KPD Chronicles with a K. So we are working on the results of the survey, and we were doing that before even the survey came out. So we're very attentive to the needs of the citizens, and we're working diligently to provide better services.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that update. Chief Lopez.
Ma'am.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to ask you another question. Could you click that slide, the next slide? Okay, I want to see, and go to the next one. And the next one. Next one, please. Okay, can you go back to that slide that we had, sir? Thank you.
Was it that one?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you, kindly. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Chief Kabinski, good afternoon. The council has given you money. The last piece of it was a tower. From my perspective in council, the police department go beyond, and the fire department to us, I can only speak for us, are top notch. And what my concern is for you and Chief Lopez, this survey, is that it could go either way, because you really don't know what they're thinking at that time. You had to go, you called the police, they didn't show up because firecrackers was going off. Okay, let me do a survey. Or you called them EMS, and my brother hurt his arm and fell, and they want you to pick him up. But there are more top priorities where you helping on Killeen, but you may be on Fort Hood, Harker Heights, and I'm not justifying it. How could you give like a quick summary to our residents on things you are putting in place, what you could do better? Why would we see these numbers? When from where I'm looking, you and Chief Lopez do an extraordinary job in your leadership role.
Absolutely, Mayor. Thank you. First and foremost, this is a great result of the work of the 263 men and women of the Killeen Fire Department. That's the reason they scored as high as they did. It has nothing to do with myself. It has everything to do with the work that the men and women of the fire department do every single day. It speaks to their professionalism and their willingness and ability to tell administration what tools and equipment they need. As we get into the meeting today, you're going to find out some of the tools and equipment that we need to be able to take care of our citizens. That's how we're going to continue to remain at the top, is to continue talking to our employees, talking to our team members, and find out what it is that they need to be able to do their job effectively, efficiently, and professionally. And so regardless of where we end up in a survey, we're going to continue to come to City Council and share with you the needs that we have when we see them. Our cardiac monitors are 15 years old. 2 of them recently are decommissioned and no longer able to be even repaired. So even though we're professional, even though we're able to provide the best service, we still have those needs, and we're going to continue sharing that with Mr. Cagle, City Council, and of course you, Mayor, as those needs come up. It's all about good communication, and we're going to continue to have that good communication.
Yes, sir. Equipment will have to be updated. And one of the things you didn't share, we had discussed doing a firefighter citizen academy. And Chief Kabinski has already started the paperwork because they have all that land out there. The police have it. It has to come before the council, and that's something Councilman Solomon had brought to me. I had talked to you about it when you had gotten here, but Councilman Solomon came up with some ideas and shared them with you. So I think you do an excellent job, and thank you for already, I didn't know you was already in motion of working on the fire station academy for residents. But when Councilman Solomon brought it to me, well, you did let me explain everything. Then you said, yes, ma'am, when you said it the first time. We just needed more space and people. So we do know that you will continue in every department to need more budget money, especially for vehicle equipment, because it expires. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. A Citizens Fire Academy has always been in the vision, but we have to have the right place to be able to do that. We now have the right place and, again, the right tools and equipment. As soon as we get our live fire training tower underway, we'll be able to tackle that community asset as well and be able to teach our citizens a very basic level of what firefighters do and be able to definitely show them what it takes to be a firefighter and share that professionalism that our firefighters show every single day.
Thank you. So Chief Lopez and Chief Kabinski, thank your officers and firefighters from the council. We appreciate what you do every day. Mr. Murphy, how are you, sir?
Good, ma'am. How are you?
Fine. Mr. Murphy, I know you have a lot of great ideas. You just came on board. I know for a fact, and council celebrate that too, that we have done a lot for our parks and increase and done a lot of work. You saw the results. Is there anything you can add? What are you working on now to meet those needs, or what you're going to bring in to bring that number down?
Well, Madam Mayor, commendable to the council as a whole to see the priority and importance of parks in our communities.
Well, good afternoon, sir.
Yes. Part of it is, continuing the course that we've already set with renovating and updating some of our older park features and modernizing and making them available. With the level of growth that is happening in development, the parkland dedication plays a key part to bringing on new parks. We just 6 months ago reallocated a large sum of money for development design of 4 park spaces. So you're going to see new features, new amenities coming on in the way of physical assets, but in the way of programming and reaching out and being able to engage the community even more. We are the best kept secret in Killeen. One, because our centers as they presently exist in our structures are kind of off a traffic pattern for kids. It's not necessarily walkable, friendly, or accessible without public transportation, but we're looking to bring together a lot of the nonprofit and mom and pop organizations that are working with youth and collectively put our heads together the way that we can increase programming offerings. As evident of that, you've seen an increase in our youth sports over years to where we're now seeing well over 1,000 participants in our soccer, 800 participants in our youth baseball and t-ball, 800 participants in our basketball, and it keeps growing year in, year out, season in, season out. So, but not all kids are sports geared or sports centric. So
Yes,
we're
sir.
looking at bringing on new programs, and that takes the building and collaboration of all our community partners. It's enough at the table for all of us to take a part of it, and it's just getting out and bringing people to the table and having those discussions and seeing things grow from it.
Yes, sir. And another thing we had discussed is about, I know you meeting with KISD. When I met with you, you offered that to all the council to tell us our concerns and how we can work better with partnerships. And KISD, we used to have a meeting with them and we worked collectively together, but we don't do that as much unless it's a need. Can you elaborate? If you cannot talk about it, but I do know it's in the works now.
I can give you a brief overview. Those discussions continue to go on, ma'am.
Yes,
We're
sir.
looking at ways to be able to get access to KISD facilities to be able to use for community programming
Correct.
based
That's what
outside
we
of school
talked
hours.
about.
But it's an ongoing conversation. You know, the culprit that we all face is the financial crunch.
Correct.
You know, again, we're having to put our heads together to see how we can minimize risk and liability while being able to offer the greatest reward. So those conversations are ongoing. They're producing more fruits. One of the things we talked about is trying to incorporate our youth sports programs through the elementary schools.
Correct.
So there are some serious conversations going on that in the next few months, next few years, you'll see the fruits of the labors that come out of it.
Yes, sir. Well, I want to commend you on taking care of our senior citizens, and the council going to have questions, so please don't leave. But our youth, that has, way before you got here, has been a major concern because we are constantly growing. As I look at the youth population, how the numbers that was there between 11, I think 21, it was high. But thank you so much. Sir, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, they can ask you, you can come back up. Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Assistant City Attorney, the council had the city manager. I don't
Yes, ma'am.
promoted you because I'm just really spinning on some stuff I saw. The council rode around with you and the code enforcement director, and there are a lot of things that we pointed out and some things that y'all have already started. And I think in that communication perspective, you already started it, but I don't think people know that, hey, but we got to go through the courts and stuff. Can you briefly, which they do a lot of work, I still think you need to get more, but Mr. Cagle has said, or Mr. Revelle, we got to get them trained up with expectations before we bring another one. Can you just briefly say what you have in place?
Yes, ma'am. I'll bring a representative up here for you.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. I'm filling in for Ms. Measure this afternoon. So, yes, ma'am, what questions did you have?
Oh, I just asked the question.
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. After reading the numbers and the concerns of the citizens.
Yes, ma'am.
Are y'all already got programs in place? If not, will you have programs in place?
Yes, ma'am, I believe they are working on programs. Ms. Measure.
Such as?
I would have to defer to Ms. Measure. She meets with the Director of Code Enforcement. I don't attend those meetings, so I wouldn't want to speak out of turn.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Who's next?
If you
Ms.
had-
Wilson?
If you had questions regarding animal services, I'd be happy to answer on
Yes,
Ms.
ma'am,
Moore's
that's
behalf.
on there. And house in need of repair, but he said he couldn't answer it. Trash and litter, he cannot answer it. Weeds and unmowed grass, he could not answer it. Condition of major streets, that's you next, Mr. Zager? Is he here? You're after Mrs. Wilson. Okay. And graffiti. So can you answer any of that?
Related to animal services, I'd be
Oh,
happy
no.
to address that.
Okay. So we have a lot of complaints that on weekends, and we discussed this, that, and I don't know in detail what they complained about, that we don't have anybody on duty to come out to pick up animals. It may be hard, but I know we talked about that. Would you please tell the public how we fixed it and any other area you have seen or what we have done to improve it? Because I don't think they know. Because I know you and the director have been working extremely hard.
Yes, ma'am. So there's a lot of new programs that we're very proud of that have been implemented over the last few months, including the hiring of our part-time vet. We actually just started doing surgeries this week, which is very exciting. That's very new for Killeen, and that's been met with a lot of excitement from the community. Additionally, we've expanded our adoption events where we're working not only with local pet stores and local businesses, but we're reaching out beyond Killeen to work with additional shelters and partner with some of the county shelters as well, going as far as Austin to help adopt some of our pets. We do some animal swapping as well, where if they have maybe a dog or cat that they've had in their shelter for a long time that hasn't been adoptable in their community, and we have one who's been with us for a while, we'll swap those pets to see if maybe we can get them in front of a different audience and find them that forever home.
Yes, ma'am.
Additionally, we're partnering with some of our own internal city departments, not only as a morale booster to bring adoptable animals out maybe for an hour to visit with fire department or some other
That'd
groups.
be awesome.
And hopefully find some homes for those adoptable animals as well. We're also visiting the senior center on a regular basis, seeing if maybe we can find a companion for a senior that's a regular visitor. And then we're continuing to make sure that we're telling our story. I think that's something we really hadn't focused on previously and that we really need to improve on. And so Animal Services actually has their own Facebook page now.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're sharing a lot of the pictures of our adoptable animals, some videos, posting challenges. We had a lot of success during Clear the Shelters Month in August. So we're definitely making some tremendous strides on the right path, and it's just going to be making sure that we're continuing to tell that story and sharing with the public.
Yes, ma'am. I know we have spoken about every direct department having a Facebook to tell their page to do it, but you said we talked about that. But what I want to commend you on, it was a man, his name was Mr. Kelly. I think his last name was Brown. And the way, when I called you about that situation, because he had lost his dog and was struggling with PTSD, that animal control went beyond to ensure that, they really met that need for him because he was struggling because he had just lost. But he found the dog looked just like. So for you, tell your staff, and also for you, Mr. Murphy, your staff is everywhere doing amazing things from the council. Thank you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Zager, who I think is the #1 engineer in the universe. Mr. Zagers, you have worked hard. One of the things I want to say about staff, and this one more get #1, community engagement. You go beyond to inform and get input, your whole staff and team. Maintenance, we do so much. We're moving so fast because we want to please everybody. But people may not understand with maintenance that you have to wait. It takes time. The weather, it's going to rain, it's this. And if we can find, this is just my recommendation, but the council will be open to ask you questions, a better way to communicate that, and that goes back to communication. Also, I'm not saying you don't, and Mr. Resto, we have given a lot of money to IT. So when I see there's a community engagement problem, that's kind of concerning to me, because this council have went in and make to ensure that. So tell us, how can we do better with street maintenance and keeping the people informed?
So I think the #1 is keeping the people informed. We've been trying to reach out, trying to find other ways to really kind of inform the people how much work we're actually doing. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff out there. We have big roads that are under construction. Right now engineering's working with over $300 million worth of work. And then we have the maintenance on top of it. Getting the message out, we've been looking at improving ways. We have the quarterly report. We now have an active map that people can go to the GIS page, see all the projects, what's going on, and kind of relay on that. I think as we move closer with the maintenance, since engineering's really starting to take over a lot of the maintenance, the contracts with the overlays, the pressure paves, I think getting more notice out to the public will help, but we're going to do that a little bit more this year. Last year it was the first year we did pressure pave when we hit the residential streets.
Yes, sir.
So we started doing those. We overlaid, Old Florence, West Cliff, Bacon Ranch, and Little Nolan.
Yes,
So
sir.
we did those milling overlays, but really making sure the public are aware of it. We're
Yes,
not
sir.
ignoring them. We know that Stagecoach has been a number one thorn in the side for
But
many years.
They moving fast with getting to completion.
They're trying. They're working
Yeah,
as
they
fast as they
working hard.
can.
That was
Today,
their
they've been
contract.
dealing with the gravel supplier on an issue, but their goal is try to get asphalt there as fast as they can, and they were trying to get it for Thanksgiving, and I think we're still shooting for that, at least on the one road. But yeah, same with Bunny Trail, get that paved. You know, we want to get these projects finished now, get
Yes,
them over
sir.
the line, because there's others coming. But I think just, yeah, communication, getting people aware. You know, yes, there are bad roads, but, you know, there's 660 lane miles of road out there in the city that we have to maintain. And some are new, some have to be replaced.
Yes, sir.
It's a process, and I think just explaining it, getting our webpage up to date so people have information, that'll help us out a lot. But it also takes patience, because
Yes,
it doesn't
sir.
happen overnight.
Well, thank you. And I just want to say, Ms. Torrey, you have done an excellent job with putting that information. And Mrs. Wilson, some of the things I do want, this is me, and I'm gonna open it up to council. We have an app where we can take a picture. A lot of residents need to see if there's a code enforcement issue. You can take a picture and you can send it to us. But we also need a tracker. When they put it in there, they need to know it, then go to the south and west, that this is your item, give updates on where you at. So I don't know how we create that, Tori, or Ms. IT, but
I could chime in on if that's a
Yes, sir.
C-click fix, it does do that. So if people go in there and they go to that C-click fix and they put in a complaint or they use that app, it keeps a track of not only what their item is, but also the responses by staff and where the status is. So that app that we use actually does give the public that act. They can log back in and see what it is.
yes, sir. But we also know before that survey came out, there was a lot of complaints, which forced council to have to ride out to see what y'all was struggling with, what resources you need. But if we're not getting the information out constantly, I got that from the slide. Even though it was 500 some people out of 160,000, everybody concerns matters. So I'm gonna open, and yeah, I want you to know that, thank you for coming up here and explaining this all to the residents, so they'll have some kind of understanding what it is. So I'm gonna go to Councilmember Sagara. Do you have anything? Well, let me ask this first. Do anybody have questions for staff? Oh, only one person? You might, okay. So just, yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you all. I was gonna say you can go take your seat, but they want to ask
All
questions.
right, thank you, Mayor and staff. I think you guys are doing a great job, and thanks for this great presentation. I think I've sat through a couple of them in the years past, and it kind of seems that we kind of have repetition here. And because of this, I think that as council members and stuff like that, it's good to know that the number one issue is street maintenance, which is something that we definitely, as Mr. Zagers pointed out, we definitely, as a council, as citizens and all that, that's a huge priority. Is there work to be done? Yes, of course. But it's being done right now. Our streets are getting repaired. We've gotten a separate funding source. So, you know, we talk about public perception, but in that area, you know, we got to work on that perception lag that there is. And I think that the issue with a lot of these things, and Mr. Zager, you kind of mentioned it, but it's just getting out that word, figuring out ways to engage with some of our citizens and let them know. You know, number one, a lot of them really do not engage. And then when they get called to do a survey, it's okay, whatever pops into my head that I thought about 2 or 3 years ago, I'm going to mention it. And nothing against that, but it's just that I think a lot of times, you know, when you point things out that has been done, people are pleasantly surprised. And like I said, there's still work, doesn't mean that we're there, but comparing ourselves to other cities, I think we're doing really well. And that goes a lot to our staff, and I know you guys do a tremendous work. You know, as I look at these and it says, you know, pretty high, you know, one of the complaints is that our recycling, and it's like, well, I think that means we don't have recycling, not that we have recycling issues because we don't have any type of recycling. And I think maybe that's why they're answering it that way. So again, I think that we just need to do a better job in that engagement. And it's always going to be a challenge. I understand that. But we just got to use whatever resources that are available to us to continue that engagement and that communication. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. But that's another thing, Mrs. Wilson, is that the recycling, they can go and turn that cardboard stuff in there. It's there. It just does not go directly to their homes. And I think the problem is we don't actually, I can't remember the questions. So how you propose a question, it goes back everything. If this staff, executive directors, Ms. Cagle, thank you for the work you do, and the city council, it comes on us too. If we don't get out and do town hall meetings, it's not when you get elected, you need to be engaged with the people, and these things we promise, we got to follow through. So you guys and girls are doing the best, but I'm not putting it all on you, because I've sat here and preach, do town hall meetings, get connected to the community. It's easy to pick up the phone to call staff and say, we got a problem. If we have these open forums and hear from the people that voted from us, then that's not a problem anymore. We can't continue to work them, and if we're gonna go this way, we need more staff. Staff them to the fullest, like we did for police and fire department. Because I know communication. If what we say today, they're gonna be overworked, and they need more people. But thank you, and I thank all of y'all for your transparency. But council, it starts here first, lead by example. Okay, you finished, Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Thank you, Madam. So first of all, thank you. When I look at this report, actually, I see quite a bit of positive. So first of all, I want to start with that. So it does look to me, when I'm looking at the metrics, that there are a lot of initiatives that we were working on as a council based on our citizens' feedback that we had in process, right? Whether we're talking about parks, whether we're talking about animal services, we've identified challenges within the police department, fire definitely boosting up those things. So it's good to see that we are truly in line with what the community has asked of us. So despite some of the negative chatter that we hear, it sounds like we are in line with what our citizens are asking us to do, and what they're asking us to maintain, I think, is also equally as important. My hope is, and I want to go on the record, Mr. Cagle, I'm holding you 100% responsible for this, but I think that you need to celebrate these mega victories, and for me, that's going to be fire. So for example, if fire department is exceeding above and beyond not only the state, but also national average, this is a major win for us, right? And so we should be capitalizing on that as a city, because not only in this area with fire, there's other things that we've made national news on that's such a positive thing. And I think you spoke about controlling our narrative and telling our story. I think this definitely 100% needs to be a part of it. Going on to the KPD, for example. Now, police department, unfortunately, has a huge systemic bias, historical, social media. There's a lot of things that are amplified by social media that the police are up against. However, all of these initiatives that we needed for our community, whether it was downtown or working on improvements in the south side of town, they've been very much engaged in that. My hope is that as we continue to be more involved in that, they're showing up at these events, I'm going to reverse and challenge our community, our citizens. When you see the PD out there, allow your children to say hello. You'd be surprised how playful some of these folks are. Engage with them, talk to them, let them know who you are, where you live, get to know your officers, just like we've challenged our officers to get to know the community. So that would be my challenge to the community, is take that time as well on the flip side, because we don't have to just fall into a national average because it's a national average when it comes to our PD, because we're a community unto ourselves. So we can, again, control our narrative there. And I think it starts with us as the citizens working in tandem with our police department. Okay, I just wanted to put that out there. Also on parks, we've had Councilmember Boyd from before, who was listening to the call of District 4 prior to Mr. Kendrick coming on. Thank you, Parks, for continuing to delve into that area. A lot of work to be done, but we've made tremendous strides. So I think we have a lot of wins here as well. We know that there's work to be done, but also we need to celebrate these victories because these are huge, and we need to dampen that negative chatter. Again, I'm always talking about who the city of Killeen is, and this is a part of our narrative to tell our story as to who we are as a city. Thank you.
One thing I want to say, Ms. Wilson and Tori, and I keep going back to her, I met with them, and I told them that I don't want to see, I need to see more employees' pictures in there than council. I don't want to see that anymore. Anything go out in my name, the newsletter, they have done an excellent job on the website. Every other day, they're highlighting our employees. And we just had this conversation maybe 3 weeks ago, and we changed the narrative. That I do know that they're doing. But everything goes back to communication. We have the tools. We use taxpayers' dollars to invest in our IT and our employees, every department head, and we need to utilize it. Okay, Councilmember Alvarez.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, staff, for being here and providing us with this information. One of the most common things that we saw in these slides was streets and people, their level of satisfaction or dissatisfaction with the roads. And most of the residents that I talk to, a lot of times, they don't really understand what roadway construction entails. Most people, including myself before I worked for the city of Killeen, think it's just a matter of digging the road up and putting some new dirt underneath and putting some asphalt, and they're like, so hurry up, why is it taking so long? Like, it should be done already. I think I've seen some other cities do this where they provide some informative videos on their social media showing like what roadway construction truly entails, including, you know, the base portion of it, the subgrade, how long each level of that base material needs to sit and to what it needs to be compacted to meet the ASTM standards, and all the requirements that need to be met before you can come and put that nice, pretty top layer on. You know, just like a home, the most important part is the foundation, and that's what takes the most amount of time. And also maybe distinguishing the difference between a mill and overlay, which is just tearing up and replacing the nice, pretty, smooth part versus reconstruction like we're seeing on Bunny Trail and Stagecoach, and why those projects are taking longer because we're having to pull that old foundation out, rebuild that old foundation, and that takes time. It's not just put some dirt out in there, wet it, compact it, and let's go. If it was that easy, obviously it would be done. So I think that will help folks to better understand the process. And, you know, obviously, nobody's going to like it. You know, I don't like having my car dusty from driving Stagecoach every day, being dirty or hitting potholes. I don't think anybody enjoys that. But if I better understand the process, I think I can be a little more empathetic in providing that latitude when it comes to, you know, filling out a survey or giving my thoughts or opinions on the matter. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Thank you. For communications, I had a question. So as it relates to these recommendations, and I think these are great ideas that you just had, Councilmember Alvarez, but some touch point videos, so we're not just inundating with reading material online, but if Facebook is working for us, having some creative frequently asked questions or touch point videos, is that something that is a reasonable thing that we can do to engage the community?
Councilwoman Gonzalez, they already started doing it.
No, I'm talking specifically to Councilmember Alvarez's point, having a corner for engineers versus his website and writing, but creating those videos, would that be something feasible that we could get up and running?
I think it's something that's feasible. One of the things that my team is definitely looking towards for 2026 is more informational type of videos. So one of the things that we're working with, actually Mr. Zagers and his team, is True Grit. It is a video literally where they're going out into the community and they're recording with the different project managers on those particular projects of what's involved and things of that nature for that project. There's a couple of other series that they have also in mind. One of them is kind of almost like a dirty jobs concept, where we actually go to different city departments and we actually work with them and do some of the jobs that they do to get residents and viewpoint of some of the services that you have and the hard work that goes into it. There's also other things. You all had mentioned city staff. My team came up with Faces of Killeen. You may have seen that on our social media platforms, where we're literally highlighting city staff and the work that they do. So there's definitely a lot of different projects that we have coming up, as well as just information pieces. I've been meeting with a couple of churches, and a lot of them, they do not know of the resources that we offer as a city. A lot of them do not know how to necessarily even fill out a permit, things of that nature. And so there's also a communication gap there with just having resources in general that residents as well as other community groups have. So there's definitely a lot for 2026. You all had mentioned outreach. I definitely believe we have to go where people are. And when you go there, you actually have to give them resources. So that's also another thing too.
Outstanding.
On our books.
Thank you very much.
And also I want to say for Ms. Torrey just got here, Wilson and I met, and the way we do business, I explained to them that won't happen again the old way. Transparency. You don't have to like the question, transparency. Get the council in the forefront and highlight the hard work our employees do. It's not about us. And the other thing was they did a video, and you got to keep playing them. I don't know how, like I asked you, where can we find somewhere on our website that they're constantly playing with Councilmember Alvarez? Then Councilwoman Gonzalez came back and say, when we did code enforcement, Brett was in it. Oh, that was so good. But we only showed it that one time. That's still a good video. So how do we set up somewhere that all these good videos, you spend all this time, because it takes sometimes 2 or 3 days. When you did mine, I know it took a whole week, because all staff can't line up at the same time. I want to tell you, Tori, you are truly amazing. And I would say this to the council, if we're asking this of her, they are so stressed. They need more staff. So some of our priorities, and I'm going to talk to Mr. Cagle about it, and you too, we might want to adjust our priorities, because Chief Lopez need a robot. Chief Kabinski and Chief Lopez saying we need this and this. Now they done added more people downtown at the request of us. Where are we paying from this? Some of our ideal dream projects, we need to annex it. We really need to we got to listen to the peoples in this survey. And if this survey would have came out before the budget, a lot of things we would not have done. Because if the citizens is not happy with us, and if we're not doing our job, we're accountable to have town hall meeting, not when we run it, when it's over. I challenge each council member to do a town hall meeting each month, whether you at large or whether you are a district. This reflects poorly on us too, because community engagement's us. I know Tori came on, everybody trying to work something, but as Chief Lopez and Chief Kabinski said, this had already hit the fan. We couldn't stop it. So the last person that wanted to speak is Councilman.
Did I still have some time remaining, Madam?
Oh, they took your time, but go ahead on.
I just wanted to say last thing was, to your point, there's a video that runs on Channel 10. So when people are watching remotely from home, there's a great video at the end of it, after our meeting is actually done, that concludes, that shows like the parks and the trails and people hiking and running, and it shows the gyms and talks about all the features in Killeen. I actually received a phone call from somebody saying, I had no idea that Killeen had all that stuff going on. And that video is wonderful. So to your point, Madam, that would be great if we can continue to figure out how to show those things on a repeat, to let people know there's a lot of good things that are happening here in this area. So we appreciate you. Thank you for all your hard work.
And the one thing, Mr. Torrey, Mr. Murphy, and Sir in the blue, this is my first time seeing you. Thank you all for showing up, because you're new here. But you guys and girl have done a great job. So this is not constructive criticism. When I bring you up here, the thumb is coming back at us. nobody gets away with it. We're all accountable. And Mr. Cagle, thank you. Councilman Solomon, following you. And I know this is taking a long time, but every council member has the right to talk. And it goes back to what I started this year when I won. If you don't explain to them the who, what, when, where, and why, and how this going to benefit the residents, then we're paying directors to give us information that we've been on here 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, 12, Sagara, and maybe more than that for him. But the residents that's moving here, because this is a rotating city with new soldiers and family members. If the residents don't understand, I expect them to go on Facebook and other stuff that they got time to do and say negative things. Council, we need to get better, because staff is carrying the heavy lifting. They're lifting it for us. We got to join in and tag and work together. Councilman Solomon.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to, first of all, thank the gentleman for the presentation of this. This is a really good outline survey. Thank you, sir, for your time and your team. I want to also ask, let me say this, in terms of, I think this is great because this is very positive, like Councilwoman Gonzalez mentioned. One of the reasons I think is positive because we get the citizens to be involved, to engage. And so I want to ask also with the fire chief, I'm sorry for the police, not the fire chief, Chief Lopez, is he here? You mentioned about what you're adding on, sir, with the domestic, I believe the traffic, and then you're adding new officers downtown.
Yes, sir.
With the domestic, and I think that's great, sir. That's great what we're doing. And also it's great with the fire department chief. Thank y'all for y'all's service and what you're doing. With the domestic, you said you're adding, I believe, 4 new officers?
6.
6, okay. In that, will they be trained for mental health as well, situations?
All KPD officers receive basic CIT training, crisis intervention training during the academy. So they all have it. Some of them have intermediate CIT training, but that's a requirement by the state. Some of them have it, some of them don't. But that's one of the priorities we try to do. Every 4 years, TCO, which is our licensing agency, puts out the program, the curriculum that each agency is supposed to follow. Some do, some don't.
That's great. That's good. And the reason why I asked that is because situations that we're finding, it's a lot of times it's addressing mental health.
Yes, sir.
And so thank you. Thank you for what y'all do. And that's good to know. I'm glad to see that we are just expanding.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else? Councilwoman, Mr. Alvarez or Mr. Hood, would you please take some time to come and check on Councilwoman Budden? She's pushing in, but it's not coming up to me. Councilwoman Cobb.
Well, we're going to go without the mic. Can you hear me? I think you guys have done an exceptional job with what you had to do. The most remarkable, when I call any department, you know I'm not going to put it on paper, you know I'm not going to do a lot of things, but I'm going to tell you to meet me there. And you've always been happily to either go before me or to go with me. Keep going with us. Keep going out to see the forces that we're coming against. Sometimes it's easy to see it on the paper, but it's hard to go out there. It's a lot of people that call with a lot of descriptions of what's going on, and that's not what's going on. We cross departments. I've crossed departments so many times. I am so thankful that you guys go out there, look at it, see what's going on, come back with the answer, and we can change what we started with. Be flexible. Thank you for being flexible. I appreciate your services. I appreciate the constituents that have to wait for those services until we find the answer. There's not a perfect answer. There's not a perfect person, but there are willing persons. and you got to give us that time. Give us time to be willing workers to solve the problem. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm thanking willing workers, workers who are willing to find out what the problem is, a constituent that is willing to wait for the answer. So how about it? A willing worker, a willing constituent, what is that equal to? A job well done.
Thank you. Once again, staff, I wanted you to have the opportunity to address things that I know, because I come and talk to you sometimes on a daily basis. But the residents needed to know that we are already doing this. So I challenge council, take your time. I know we had an orientation where we went to each department to see what they were doing. I challenge you every other month to go and see what they're doing, because some of the questions that were asked to them to do, they're already doing it. And stay engaged with the residents. So staff, thank you, thank you, thank you. Sir, if you would like to come up and say any closing, sir, yes, sir. Thank you, staff. Please, thank you. Thank you for cooperating. Okay, sir, we don't have any more questions. Tori, thank you once again. Sir, thank you for the presentation, but our questions was to staff, but thank you for what you do.
You're very welcome. It's my
Okay.
pleasure to be here, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
And if I might just say, it's very refreshing to see a council that is so engaged. A lot of times, the survey results are delivered, it's just, thank you, no discussion, no digestion of the data, and I can tell that you all are, to a person, very serious about wanting to provide the highest level of service. I particularly appreciated Councilwoman's comments about, I'll put it in my terms, trumpeting your successes. Cities are not good about trumpeting successes because they perceive that they'll be attacked somehow or diminished because, they're feathering their own nest. It's political purposes why they're saying these positive things. The reality is, if you don't feel comfortable talking and praising your staff as you're doing, who's going to?
Yes, sir.
Nobody's going to. And so that culture that you're breeding, and a lot of times there are creative things that you can do.
Yes, sir.
You're obviously listening to your city engineer. You're taking great strides,
Yes, sir.
putting plans together. And you're right, Mayor. You talked several times about promoting that information, getting that information out in different ways, and challenging each other to do that. I think it's excellent. So I just wanted to provide that viewpoint from where I come from, because I work
Yes,
with a lot of
sir.
cities.
But I want to just correct one thing. When Miss Tori came on, I met with her and Miss Wilson. In my monthly newsletter, we highlight all the success stories there. And
Right.
if you go to Facebook, the city Facebook page, all that is highlighted. Like Miss Tori stated, Brett had come to me. He got Killeen Connect. And all in there is online. And when did we start that, Tori? Miss Wilson, do you know when we started the K, where Brett put all the employees in there and highlight them and stuff? It was several months ago. So not only do the newsletter go out monthly, and like people said in your survey, they get it from the newsletter, but also Brett, who is extraordinary, the communication team are extraordinary. I work with CTC on the broadcast every month, highlighting what's going on in Killeen. And the one thing that CTC say constantly with our old director of communication and now Tori, they have never worked with a communication team that have so much information that residents cannot say that they don't know. But they said it. So we do what we do, we take it to the next level. So we just added more support there. I'm not going to say the survey going to come back and say they don't know, but it won't be on communication.
Right.
So all this stuff we discuss here, they already doing it. And we just going to enhance it. That's all we're doing. And so
Sounds
I
good.
thank you for taking your
Thank you.
time.
Thank you all.
But staff, once again, please go back and tell your employees all the amazing things they have done and encourage them, because this survey going to be a write-up in the paper or it might be on a news, but don't let them discourage. We're doing the right thing, but the survey came out before y'all could give updates. And council, once again, I challenge you. Everything we ask of them, we need to get on our campaign Facebook, our council Facebook, everything that they have, and it's official, your page, it should be on your Facebook. I don't have an official page. I didn't have a choice but to get rid of, but that's another story. Help them out, and we all working together, because the staff, I can honestly say this, they doing their job. Can we say that? Here, I'm more, are you challenging me? Because once you say yes, no, I'm asking you, because you got to stay on the subject, because I know how many town halls, a couple of y'all done called you on it. I don't want to make it about us, but I just said, do better.
Madam Mayor, I will challenge you
Yes,
on
ma'am.
doing better, but I will also meet the standard for the constituents.
Okay, then. Thank you. All right. Madam, do better, everybody, including me. Madam Secretary, I'm ready for the next item.